Right, so we've got a couple of questions from our buddy Gabby. And the first question is there any way you can close your eyes in dreams? And the second question, every time I try to expect something to happen, it doesn't. I know in lucid dreams you can do and control what you want, but why isn't it working? Okay, so the first question, yes, you can close your eyes in dreams. However, more than likely it will wake you up, or at least end the lucidity, because it's just a very easy and straightforward way to wake up from a dream. Whenever I used to have nightmares, I used to have nightmares about this dog chasing me, and to after a while, I realized that when I just closed my eyes, I woke up and the nightmare was over. That was before I discovered lucid dreaming and how to actually, confront the dog and understand the fear and realize that it was because I was chased by a dog when I was younger. But that's neither here nor there. The fact is, I learned that by closing your eyes in a dream, you end the dream. Usually, that's usually what happens. Okay, the second part of the question. This is slightly more interesting, slightly more of an involved question. Every time I try to expect something to happen, it doesn't. Right. The issue with this is that especially if you're new to lucid dreaming, when you expect something to happen, it usually won't, and this can be discouraging, and it can sort of reinforce a negative loop because you expect something to happen, and then it doesn't. So then the next time around, you expect it slightly less, and so on until eventually you just have no control over the dream, and you can't. It seems like you can never learn to lucid dream and control it because you become discouraged. I mean, if you expect to fly and you don't fly, then obviously you're going to doubt your ability to fly in a lucid dream. It's pretty simple, but there is something you can do about that, and that is you have to become more stable in the dream before you expect something to happen. And let me explain what I mean by that. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about the layers of a lucid dream because I'm going to explain that in a later video. I'm just going to sort of reference that idea. Okay, so if you imagine when you first become lucid, you could say layer one of a lucid dream, you usually snap out of that lucidity pretty quickly unless you're focused and know what you're doing. So this is the reason why most beginners become lucid and then almost instantly become awake, or they excite themselves too much and they just end the lucid dream. So that is sort of the first stage. Okay, and at that stage you can't control hardly anything in the lucid dream. All you can sort of really do is look around you and think, well, I know this is a dream, I'm lucid dreaming, and you get all excited, like, wow, I'm lucid dreaming. This can't be real, so it must be a dream. And that is sort of the first stage. And if you try to control things at that stage, more often than not, you won't be able to control things because you're not fully lucid. And although it feels like you are, although it feels like you know you're dreaming and you should be able to control things, I mean, why not? You know you're dreaming, so technically you're lucid dreaming. But it's not quite that simple. Okay, there are different levels of lucidity and therefore different levels of control. It's not the case that you can just do a reality check in a lucid dream, in a normal dream, sorry, and then instantly be able to control the entire dream and the entire dream world. It doesn't quite work like that. Okay, it comes down to skill and also different, as I say, layers and levels. So at the first level, you can be aware that you're dreaming, but at the same time, it almost feels like you're exploring the dream world as if it were a real place. And this is where it gets a little bit confusing. Although it does definitely feel like a real place, and the sensations and experiences you have in a lucid dream feel very vivid and real. I'm not saying that it's not. All I'm saying is that at the lower levels of lucidity, you feel like it's an actual place that you're exploring rather than a place that you're creating. And there is a bit of a difference here. And as you get to the higher levels, you not only become aware and in control of your actions as your dream character in the dream, but you also become aware and in control of the other dream characters and the other elements of the dream, and eventually the entire experience and the entire dream world. And that is sort of the highest, near the highest level of lucidity, where you can do anything. You can switch dream characters. You can experience two people's views at once. You can experience different times at the same time, if that makes sense. You can experience different dimensions and all of this advanced sort of stuff. But and in the lower levels, you can't really do that. All you can really do is you can look around and you can be aware that you're dreaming. You can decide, for example, you can decide to pick up your phone or pick up a ball from the floor, whatever you want to do. You can decide to go over and talk to someone. You can decide to open a door. And although it feels like you're lucid dreaming and you're in control, you're still, as I said, it still feels like you're discovering and exploring the world rather than creating and controlling it. And for that reason, when you expect something to happen, as you say, and it doesn't, it's because you're not completely lucid. You're only lucid in the sense that your dream character is aware of what he or she is doing. So in order to advance the levels, it's really about practice, meditation, and more practice. I hate to say this, but that it's just going to take time. Okay, it's going to take a lot of exploring and experimentation on your part to get to those higher levels. I mean, even I've been dreaming 5 to 8 years. I mean, I can't even remember when I started. It's been years, and I still sometimes have the dreams where I'm on the lower level, on the first layer of lucidity. It comes and goes. It varies wildly, but time and practice will really help you to get to those higher levels. But I hope you can understand now why, when you expect something to happen and it doesn't, it's not really a case of you or your lucid dreaming ability not working as such. It's just a case of you're not really on the right level of awareness. And that's something that comes with time and practice. So don't worry. At the moment, just enjoy it for what it is. Explore the dream, experiment, and I guess when you become lucid, try and stabilize it, and that will sort of help you advance to the higher levels. So when you become lucid, instead of exploring the world and sort of flowing down the river of the dream and letting it carry you, instead decide to just stop and just look at one detail of the dream while, for example, rubbing your hands. And this will stabilize you and ground you in the dream and sort of relax you and slow things down a bit so that you can really take the time to look at the details, think about what exactly you're doing. And then hopefully once you've grounded yourself, and if the dream is stable enough, you can try this little technique and just try and stop whatever you're doing for a second. Stop looking around and walking in the dream and just think to yourself, and maybe even say out loud, I know this is all a dream, and I know that I am creating everything. Okay, and just really try and wrap your mind around the idea that you are not only creating your dream character and your decisions in the dream, but your mind is also constructing absolutely everything you see and experience around you in the dream. And this includes feelings, temperature, sights, sounds. Your mind is constructing all of that. So when you really understand that, and when you really believe that, because that is essentially what's happening, it's all in your mind. When you believe and understand that, then it will be much easier to do things. You haven't given an example in your question. You just said every time I try and expect something to happen, it doesn't. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you expect to be able to fly. This is quite a common thing in lucid dreams. You expect to be able to fly. So you might sort of jump up and expect yourself to stay off the ground and maybe travel upwards. But instead of trying to expect it to happen and trying to force it, just try and realize that you are the whole dream. You're not just your dream character exploring and experiencing it. You are the whole dream. Your mind and your awareness, with practice, because remember I said you can progress and regress up and down the levels. But just with practice, you will realize that you are the whole dream. So it's not a case of learning how to fly. It's just you just do it. It's within your capability because you are creating and experiencing it at the same time. And this is where it can get confusing. You have to have a balance between control and creation and experience and subjective experience. There is no other way of saying it. So I hope this has helped. If you have a question, please send it to the channel or my email. And don't forget to subscribe, because that way you can get all my latest videos and you don't have to wait and hope that I email you.